Two-time.
Boys about to go down on me.
Y'all boys ready to get fucked again?
You're looking at the 2025 champ.
Let's not lose. Boys about to be more exposed than Andrew's scrotum.
Just hoping to do good enough to not be last. Let's go.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
Hopefully it's only up from here.
Here we go again.
Hello, Best Night Ever League, and welcome to the Week 4 recap. I have my co-host here, Grace, and my other co-host, ChatGPT, and we're going to bring you all the details from Week 4.
Absolutely. Thanks for the intro. We're here to break it all down, maybe have a few laughs, and dive into how Week 4 played out. Let's get into it.
Okay, looking at Week 4, we have the Bonnie Blues and myself, and me and all my hurt neighbors, Connor. This was, whenever you play Connor, you always want to beat him. He's been so good for so long, and his team right now is just falling apart. So it wasn't quite how I wanted it to pan out in terms of the shit talk, but I'm glad to get the win regardless. ChatGPT, you want to kind of go through the quarterback matchups for us?
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. So on the quarterback front, you definitely had the upper hand. Tua and Jordan Love really delivered for you, while Connor's duo of Lamar and Jalen Hurts kind of struggled to keep up. So you definitely set the tone right there. Bottom line, you got the win, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I would agree. Normally when you go into a matchup against Connor, you see Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and it is terrifying. When I started this week, I saw Lamar Jackson was playing Kansas City, his kryptonite. I was pretty excited about that. I knew Jalen Hurts was going to do his thing, but top to bottom, looking at Connor's matchup, I wasn't too afraid. The Malik Neighbors injury was just an awful thing altogether. Oddly enough, I lost Tyreek Hill, so we lost 2 of the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL in the same matchup. So that's not funny, Grace. So yeah. Yeah, so Connor and I were the exact opposite of how Grace feels right now. Just absolutely depressed. You never want to see those kind of injuries. ChatGPT, what do you think about the running back matchups?
Yeah, absolutely. It's never fun seeing those injuries, and I get why you and Connor felt that way. But looking on the bright side, let's talk running backs. You definitely had the edge there as well. Josh Jacobs was huge for you, and Devon Chain did his thing. On Connor's side, his running backs just couldn't keep pace. So you had the upper hand there too, and that definitely helped seal the deal for you.
I mean, when we're looking at Chase Brown, he's one of Connor. Is that funny? One of Connor's low points in the season has been Chase Brown, only because of the Joe Burrow injury. I think he felt the biggest effect of that. They just can't move the ball, period. Kyren Williams is still going to do his thing. I feel like 8 points is the low for Kyren. So I think I just got lucky in that regard. Moving on to the wide receiver matchups, what did you think about that, ChatGPT?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Chase Brown definitely got hit hard by that Bengals situation, and you kind of caught a break there. And yeah, Kyren Williams having an off week is a bit of luck for you too, but that's how fantasy goes sometimes. Now for the wide receivers, you had a bit of a mixed bag, but you still didn't have to get the job done. I didn't say give you a nice boost, and even though A.J. Brown was quiet, Connor's wide receivers didn't really take advantage. So in the end, you still had the edge.
Yeah, looking at Jameson Williams, I mean, that guy, Goff was just targeting him down the field almost every other play. 2 for 8 for 40 yards. It's like, you almost want to start the guy just because you know he's going to have that 25-point week. But, I mean, it just hasn't come to fruition yet. So I'm sure that's a frustrating situation for Connor. But looking at his lineup, he's going to have to roll with Jameson Williams going forward. The rest of the matchup was not that crazy. Obviously, I had Trey Benson go for 8, and he was, not that great. It didn't work out for me. And then, of course, this week he goes on IR, so, just even crazier. Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm glad to get the win. Go to 2-2. Connor's going to 3-1, his first loss of the season. I think this is a rare situation for Connor. I'm excited to see how he manages it. He's never really been in a situation where he is, back against the wall, not knowing exactly what to do. And I'm excited to see if he gets good waivers out of it, or if he's able to trade out of it, or if his team just kind of miraculously gets a little bit better. Any final thoughts on our matchup, ChatGPT?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you summed it up well. It's kind of one of those situations where you got the win, and Connor's dealing with a bit of chaos, and it'll be interesting to see how he cleanses out of it. For you, it's a nice confidence boost, and hey, you get to enjoy that win. So bottom line, great job, and let's see how the rest of the season plays out.
Okay, on to the next matchup. Alright, and for the second matchup of the week, we have Prayers for Jamar and Cam Ferguson versus Brockback Mountain and Gregor Falk. A lot going on here. We had, Cam had a solid week, hoping to get to 2-2. Anytime you can get back to 500 is a good thing. Gregor on the same kind of boat, needed to get to 500. Really important matchup mentally for both of these teams. ChatGPT, what did you think about the quarterback play from both teams?
Yeah, definitely a big matchup for both teams trying to get back to 500. And looking at the quarterback play, it was actually pretty interesting. Cam got a nice boost from Drake May, who put up solid numbers, but Gregor's duo, Mayfield and Purdy, didn't have to hold their own. So it was a pretty close battle on that front. In the end, Gregor got the overall win, thanks to some big performances elsewhere, but it was a good fight for both sides.
I think looking at Cam's team down the line, obviously he's hurt, that Jaden Daniels is not playing. Solid pickup with Marcus Mariota. I told him last week, do not start Cam Ward, and obviously Cam Ward got 3 points. You cannot, that guy's awful. I'm sorry, Cam, just drop him. So solid start with Marcus Mariota. Cam's draft this year was a really interesting draft. He went very rookie centric. He kind of wanted, a young team. He kind of tried to, beat us out on all the draft picks, and I think it's just going to take some time to materialize. Obviously, with Amari and Hampton going for 28 after going for 22, it's starting to do that as we speak. But looking at Gregor's team, you have a solid squad all the way down the line. Yeah, this is what all of you guys who are about to be dads have to look forward to. So, there's a lot of babbling. He's trying to start to talk now. Lots of fun. But over on Gregor's side, you got just a solid squad all the way down from top to bottom. Oh, there's a couple of steps from her. But Bijan Robinson doing his thing. I think one of Gregor's biggest disappointments this year has been Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had the one good start to the year, week 1, but has been pretty bad since. Getting some solid wide receiver play though from Garrett Wilson and Debo. All the way down the line, Gregor just had a solid week. If you're going to score 151 points, with a 30 bomb from Stafford on the bench, 22 from Etienne on the bench, obviously you deserve to win. Fantastic week from top to bottom for Gregor. I think overall Gregor's team is looking great this year. I think he has nothing to be worried about. Over on Cam's team, I think it's going to just be one of those things that takes a second to materialize. I wouldn't stress too much Cam. Obviously, losing Joe Burrow hurt a lot. But outside of that, your rookies will eventually become better, and hopefully Brian Thomas gets his head out of his ass and, has a good week. So that's your week 2 matchup. Okay, for the third matchup of the week, we have Zach versus Jacob. So this was a massive win for Jacob, kind of a statement week for him. 161 points is exactly what he needed. Going 0-3 to start the year, you kind of start to get desperate. Things just don't feel like they're going to work out for you. But just all the way down the line, you got Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, both going for 27 apiece. Funny enough, Jacob did call that his 2 running backs were going to be awful. The strongest point of Jacob's team really showed this week. We have Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra, and George Pickens all going over 20, with George Pickens going for over 30, which is just absolutely insane. On the flip side, looking at Zach's team, I mean, from top to bottom, at the beginning of the season, we looked at Zach's team and we were just like, it's going to be good. It's way better than last year. What a hell of a trade that he made for Joe Burrow. Excited to see what it was going to be. And I think Zach has to be disappointed so far this season. 1-3, 10th in our league, lowest points scored. I mean, the team does not look that bad, but the matchups, the things just aren't working so far. We got Bryce Young and Kyler Murray, solid quarterbacks to have without, obviously, Joe Burrow. But, I mean, just not performing. Kyler Murray's awful. He's hard to watch. Jonathan Taylor's, could be RB1 this year. Chuba, he's kind of relied on to work out for him. And he really has, especially last year, and kind of had a really good start to this season. Lad McConkey, I mean, Jesus, what a awful season Lad McConkey's having. The guy looked like all-pro, going to be Justin Herbert's guy, and just turned into the 3rd wide receiver on the team. So I think Zach's biggest issues right now are going to be his wide receiver play. Hey. Hello, would you like to chime in on this one? Okay, ChatGPT, what do you think about this matchup? I've said enough already.
Absolutely, let's wrap it up. I mean, you nailed it. Jacob's team really came out swinging and just put up a massive week. Having Mahomes and Fields both drop 27 each, plus those wide receivers going off, it was just a powerhouse performance. On the flip side, yeah, Zach's got some tough luck going on. The talent is there, but things just aren't clicking yet. Wide receiver struggles are real for him, and Kyler Murray isn't helping much. But hey, it's a long season, and Zach can still turn it around. For now, though, this was Jacob's week to shine, and he definitely made that statement.
I do like Zach's pick with Junkins, the Browns running back. I think he's going to be really good. I didn't even realize that Zach at the time had drafted him. So I think that's going to be a savior for Zach. Again, losing CeeDee Lamb's tough. So I think at this point, Zach just needs to kind of figure out who he's going to start, who his studs are going to be. He's got Wendell Robinson, who could be good with Malik Neighbors out. Obviously, Swift is going to be up and down all season long. Could pop off. Could be awful. We just never know. But yeah, that's the 3rd matchup of the week. I think Jacob's super excited that he got that first win. And yeah, we'll move on to the next one.
Grace, what do you think about football? Yeah, me too.
Okay, on to the 4th matchup of the week. We have Nixon's Mystery versus Team OJ 420. Bobby versus Oscar. And I think that, just as I said about Jacob's team, this was a massive statement win. I got to bring up the fact that, and I think I can include Gregor here. So we had our top 3 scorers, Gregor being our 4th scorer, all score over 150 points. I believe that all 4 of those guys scored higher than our last 3 weeks' number 1 top scorer. So it was a super high scoring week, super exciting, lots of, fireworks and good things, and I think Bobby benefited the most out of that. And then similar story to Jacob's team, just amazing wide receiver play. So, ChatGPT, what do you think about the quarterback play here between these two teams?
Yeah, absolutely. This was a huge statement week for Bobby's team, and like you said, it was a super high-scoring week overall. When you have multiple teams dropping over 150 points, you know it's a fireworks show, and Bobby definitely lit it up. Now, looking at the quarterback play, Josh Allen and Dak Prescott were absolutely on fire for Mixon's mystery, while on the other side, Caleb Williams and Geno Smith just couldn't keep up. That quarterback gap really set the tone and gave Bobby that big edge. So overall, just a massive week for him and a big-time quarterback performance that helped lead the way.
That's true. Overall, just like, that's the great point, ChatGPT. Josh Allen and Dak Prescott just blew open the door for him this week. Javonte Williams still playing incredible. 20 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. So far, I think that matchup, or that trade has turned out to be pretty even between Bobby and I. On paper, obviously, everybody's like, oh, Michael won the trade. But at the end of the day, it's whoever scores the most amount of points. And right now, it's looking pretty dang even. So Bobby's going to have to figure out Nick Chubb. That's obviously not going to work anymore. But Drake London, Mbuke, DK Metcalf, all scoring over 20. Very similar to Jacob's kind of week. Both of these guys desperately needed a win. And Bobby comes away with 180 points, which is just absolutely crazy. Looking over at Oscar's team, Caleb Williams and Geno. Caleb Williams, obviously we've all said, first overall, best pick in the first round so far. He still has Saquon trying to carry him. I think Kamara has been a little bit of a disappointment this year compared to last year. But when you look at Oscar's team, you think Puka Nacua. That guy is just unbelievable. If you watch him play, he doesn't drop the ball. He's just absolutely incredible. There's a really good chance that Puka and Jackson Smith and Njigba go wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 this year. So that's going to be the absolute focal point of Oscar's team. I don't think he needs to really panic at 2-2. I think he has a solid squad. Obviously, Michael Penix on his bench hurts, but he just needs to kind of get everybody going. I think both of these squads are going to be right in the mix to make it to the playoffs, especially if Bobby can kind of keep this momentum going. Do you have any final thoughts about this matchup, ChatGPT?
Absolutely, you summed it up really well. This was a huge week for Bobby, and if he can ride that wave, he's definitely going to be right in the playoff mix. And for OJ, yeah, he's got some solid pieces like Puka and JSN that can really carry him. So even at 2-2, there's no need to panic. Both teams are in a good spot. They've got the talent, and it's just about keeping that momentum going. So overall, it was a fun, high-scoring week, and it's going to be exciting to see how these teams do moving forward.
I think it's really funny to see how quickly our league can kind of squeeze together. We had 3 teams at 3-0, a few guys at 0-3, and then all of a sudden it all squeezes together pretty quickly. Where every week going forward is gonna make a difference. I really do believe that 7 wins gets you into the playoffs, but you gotta score the points because there's gonna be a lot of teams at 7 wins. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next matchup. Okay, and for the final matchup of the week, we have Jack and Goff versus the Ram Ranchers. Andrew versus Thomas. Andrew has been the storyline for this season. Just absolutely incredible squad from top to bottom. Some, amazing keeper play. Some great draft picks. All the way down the line. He's playing great. So this was the powerhouse matchup of the week. Both guys came in at 3-0. Thomas scoring 126. You can't be super upset because at 126 you can get a win a lot of the weeks. Just not this week. Absolutely crazy high scoring stuff. It's the craziest part is that Jared Goff and Danny Jones, Danny Ducks, only went for 20 points and Andrew still scored 158 points. He has Christian McCaffrey and the big story of the week is Austin Genty just coming out. 3 touchdown game. Absolutely crazy. I can't imagine how ecstatic Andrew was. You can't not be happy for the guy. We don't need Andrew to win or lose every year. maybe just in the middle. You know, if he wins, good for him. But we do not want to see Andrew lose this year. ChatGPT, any thoughts on Thomas's side? Anything he could have done better? Anything you have to say about Thomas's squad, or was he just screwed no matter what?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Thomas put up a respectable score, but sometimes you just run into a juggernaut week. And Andrew's team is exactly that this season, just stacked top to bottom and firing on all cylinders. When you've got Christian McCaffrey and then someone like Austin Genty having a monster breakout game, it's just tough to keep up. So for Thomas, it's one of those weeks where you just tip your hat and move on to the next one. His team isn't bad at all, just ran into a buzzsaw this week. So he can definitely bounce back, but this time Andrew just had one of those unstoppable weeks.
Yeah, Andrew's sitting there with, Quentin Johnson on his bench. He's been a very surprising player. Xavier Worthy on his bench. Obviously, 21 from the Lions defense helps a ton. But looking over at Thomas's squad, I think Thomas has to be super excited about his season so far. Justin Herbert, Sam Darnold. I think the only weak part of Thomas's team has been, if Sam Darnold can keep up. Obviously, we had a really bad week from Justin Herbert. I don't know what that was. I look up, Thomas and I are going to the market on Sunday. I'm like, hey, 85% of the bets are on the Chargers. What do you think's going to happen? Of course, they freaking lose. It's just like, you couldn't write a script better than that. But Justin Herbert has his worst game of the season. Obviously, you look at Thomas's team, and his running backs are what stand out the most. Gibbs, Cook, and Bucky Irving, just absolutely incredible running backs. Another weak part of his team is his wide receiver play. Jacoby Myers and Keenan Allen. You can't really trust those guys week to week. You're just hoping for those big weeks. So I don't think Thomas should be sad about this week. I think he had a solid week, and anytime you can score points, like I said, 7 wins I think gets you in. I think we have multiple guys at 7 wins come towards the end of the season, and it's going to be all about how many points he scored during the season. So let's go ahead and look at the standings right now. If the season ended today, we would have Andrew versus Gregor in the first round of the playoffs. Connor versus Thomas. Obviously, we're not sure about Connor's team right now, so I don't think that's going to hold very long. And then we got a few guys, myself, and I can't think of who else is kind of the 5 and 6 seed. And then we got Zach and Bobby, Jacob and Cam. A lot of things can happen from here going forward. I think week 4 is like you kind of get 4 weeks into the season. Everybody kind of feels out how their squad's going to be. And then you get really nervous going forward because it's like every week is closer to playoffs. It's kind of crazy that we're already a month into the season. I hope everybody's having fun and enjoying everything that's going on. The injuries are piling up. They're absolutely killing us. Every week we're just like, who's going to get hurt? I think it's going to be a running back season again, not a wide receiver season, but I think at this point it's all about who has enough depth and who can avoid the injuries. So thank you for watching the Week 4 recap, and I hope you guys have a great weekend, and good luck this weekend.